Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the IronSquid Round of 8 broadcast, brought to you by Twitch TV, Astro Gaming, and Asus Republic of Gamers. My name is Total Biscuit.
And I'm D Apollo.
Yeah. We've got some awesome matches coming up for you, although we're going to have to wait a little bit of time, because you know how it is with the French, Apollo. They like to take it nice and slow and easy.
Yes, this is just the warm baguette and that warm butter that's just been served before
delicious.
you actually get to the meal. And actually, when I was in France, sorry, that was actually my favorite part of the meal. I love the baguettes there.
Yeah, baguettes, bread. I think France is exceedingly good when it comes to bread. I was a fan of that. I remember we were both in France, actually, talking to the guys for IronSquid, and I think the best adventure was when we were going to the clearly French places that obviously didn't want tourists there, obviously there for the Parisians, and trying to figure out what was going on with the menu.
Oh yeah, they like we asked very simply, could we have an English menu? And they were like, I'm sorry, this is a French restaurant. And we were like, all right, well,
No anglais, no.
Total Biscuit was like, well, at least I studied some French in school. I can half read this menu. I guess we'll have to work with that.
Well, I'm pretty sure we figured out what fish was, so two of us had fish, and I also figured out what steak was, so we were pretty cool.
Yeah.
Although, I have to say, that restaurant was rather interesting. It had toasters on the side of the table, actually attached to the table for the purposes of toasting these tiny little pancake thingies.
Yeah, that was actually weird.
Yeah.
And then there was somebody sitting behind us who actually knocked the toaster off the table. That's why you don't have toasters with cables everywhere in a restaurant. And that was a extraordinary, weird experience.
It was a kind of an odd experience, wasn't it? But it was a pleasant experience. When it comes to food, oh, Paris does deliver, I can tell you that for a fact.
Yeah, oh man, the food is amazing in Paris, and like the food is amazing, so are our games today in the IronSquid Round of 8 finally here. Show number 15. We have 14 shows previous to this, and it doesn't feel like it.
No.
It really doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't. It does not. It's been a particularly wild ride, and now we've gotten to the round of 8. Now, I'm just going to say this right now, just before people start, where are the games? We want the games. We've got about 30 minutes until the first game. We're going to talk your way through absolutely everything and give you all the background you could possibly need for this tournament, because we are trying to sync things up with the French guys this time around. We've actually got 3 casts today. We've got English, French, and Russian, and we're all trying to do it around the same kind of time. So we've been asked to talk for 30 minutes. Fun times.
Well, I guess that's what we're paid to do, and that's why
Pretty
we're
much.
here. I mean, I guess it's better than just looping some image constantly for you guys, and you can just have some, backstage discussions with us about what's coming up and how we've got here.
Yeah, we can talk about pancakes and toasters on the
French
side of
pancakes.
tables. Ah, les pancakes français. Oui, oui.
I had French toast in Las Vegas, but I
Okay.
don't think it's really French toast.
I think
is
they're
it?
lying
it's
to
just
you.
American.
Yeah, I
think
actually
so too.
discovered something which completely blew my mind when I first went over to the US, that American hard gums do not exist in America.
Really?
Yeah, man.
full
I've
of
been
lies.
eating those all my life, thinking, this bag of delicious, sweet, sugary treats represents all that it is to be American. And then I find out when I go over to the States, they don't exist. These things are not real.
We've moved on from destroying France now to America. America, the country full of lies.
Nah, it's a big target. They can deal with it. But whatever the case, yes, we have about half an hour of time to kill before the first set of games. We can tell you about the format before we go on. From now on, we are in best of 5 territory, which is going to be good news for a lot of people, I would think, considering you want to see the best quality games. There will be 2 best of 5s today and 2 best of 5s tomorrow at pretty much the same time. It is single...
Yes.
Sorry. I was going to say it's single limb at this point, so you lose, you're out.
Yeah, single best of 5. It really could go either way, especially with the amount of players that we have, the quality of play, should I say, here in the round of 8. Single best of 5, of course, it is a little bit deeper than best of 3, which means we will have a more variety of style, more deeper strategies, thinking, alright, well, in game 1, what am I going to do? If I lose or win, what am I going to do in game 2? Rather than just a best of 3, where it's, if I win game 1, alright, just win game 2, and if I lose game 1, if I lose, I'm out. So,
Yep.
best of 5 does make it a deeper series, a lot more thought will come in, a lot more strategies will develop.
Indeed.
and it's going to be a fantastic best of 5 series that we have today and tomorrow.
Yeah, these games are awesome, and, well, we killed all the foreigners. It was a pretty stacked tournament to begin with, if I'm totally honest. That makes it very, very difficult for foreigners. There were actually only 8 foreigners out of 20 in the tournament, so they were outnumbered 3-2.
And that kind of sucks as they're all out now. Kind of Nurtio, we kind of got the furthest. I mean, statistically, it was really kind of Rhett. I mean, well, Rhett and Idra and Nurtio, they all had 2 wins and 2 losses. But to be honest, the closest person that to get towards advancing through was indeed Nurtio. It was just that, you know, series away. Having, you know, if he had beaten Nesty, he would have been through as the only foreigner. And of course, Rhett and Idra, even though they did finish on equal footing to Nurtio, they never really looked like going through, as they had a lot of disadvantages going into the second half of their group stages. And of course, Stefano, you know, didn't kind of 1 win, 3 losses, had to forfeit a game as well, and couldn't quite go the distance here, which is a little bit surprising considering he usually is the player that is regarded as the best non-Korean within StarCraft 2.
Well, essentially, it comes down to a disaster of his own making, and I can show you the groups right now. In fact, this is Group C right here. These are the standings, and you'll notice that Stefano has a big red out next to his name. Stefano, get out. And that is because he forfeited his game against MMA, and he was the only player in the entire tournament to actually forfeit a series, although we did see some, let's just say, rather suspect series from a couple of people who were obviously out by that point anyway. But the sad thing, I think, for Stefano fans, and indeed for MMA fans who wanted to see that series, is that he actually had a genuine shot at it. He could have beaten MMA, he's done it in the past.
Yeah, and, you know, if he'd beaten MMA, it could have been a completely different Group C, of course, where MMA and Jakshi actually advanced through that. But just looking at the group stages now, we had a lot of surprising results early on, where we saw Todd just 0-4 straight out, bam, gone. And likewise Thorzane. And surprisingly, Lenok in Group D, who also went 0-4. Very, very big surprise there from, of course, MLG and GSL champion. And Hazyobs did surprise us with a win, of course, and he actually played a lot of good games. You know, despite that 1 series he did play against Nurtio, he showed us great games against Lenok and also against Nesty.
Yeah, those were absolutely fantastic. They really, really were. And it was unfortunate to once again see him kind of fall just a little bit too far and not be able to make it through the group stages. But these group stages were some of the harshest I have ever seen, really, if I'm totally honest. They absolutely ridiculous quality of play in every single group. There was no easy group. When we first got the groups, we were trying to think, well, which is the group of death here? And the actual answer to that is, well, there isn't a group of death. There just isn't.
Yeah.
They're all horrible. I mean, they really are. You go in there and you expect to be absolutely mauled, or at least have to struggle to get out of your group.
Yeah, and that really, on that floor, you can look at Group A, B, and D, and we have 3 players achieving 4-0 results in each difficult group here, which is a fantastic, fantastic result here. As it, like we said, could have gone either way. Marine King, of course, is Marine King. You know, he just doesn't lose recently. When he does, it's a very, very big surprise for everybody that's watching. And MC has been on form once again recently, just doesn't lose versus Zerg players. We actually saw that earlier today in the GSL, where he crushed Nesty, and everyone was like, what? And MC's just completely on form versus Zerg. A little bit more difficult is going to be his game later on against Alive. Of course, he has struggled here and there. Still against Terran, still in that rebuilding process of what we saw Puma do to him throughout last year. It was just final after final, game after game, just bring MC down to another level. But MC is getting better and better within that matchup. And then finally, Nesty. And many people talk about how Nesty's lost it. He's getting too old. He just doesn't have the same spirit with him. But he went 4-0 against Alive, you know, Nurtio, Hazyobs, and Lenok. Nesty is definitely still a favorite to take the entire of the IronSquid tournament.
Yeah, his actual map score, we can have a look at it over here, actually, was pretty ridiculous. You'll notice the French have an interesting way of doing things. They actually use goal average here and points. So those of you familiar with football or soccer, to those in the heathen countries, will be aware of what's going on there. You're talking about 12 points there with a +5 average. That is very, very high indeed. He did drop a map in 3 series, and he 2-0'd Lenok. Very, very convincing there. I don't believe that's the highest in the tournament. If I recall correctly, actually, Marine King... Yeah, Marine King...
No, Marine King was the same as Nesty with 8 map wins and 2. MC was 8-1. Just that one game difference, but
yeah.
you know they're still all up there. And this level is the thing is that you have to keep in consideration when 2 top players play, it actually should be a close series because the loser always gets the map pick choice, right? The second game they go to their favorite map, so it's like 1 win, map choice, okay, you win, and then back to me. And that's why we see a lot of tournaments usually in the finals is relatively close because of course maps do help give it a little bit of an advantage to a certain race, to a certain player. And but going 8-1 overall, MC, just an incredible run here in Group B.
Yeah, it was just destruction. Absolute, complete, and total destruction in that regard. Those of you tuning in, by the way, and looking for the French stream, there is a reason. Apparently they're having an electrical fault that is preventing them from going on air at the moment, although it looks like they may have just hopped on. So I would suggest that if you happen to be en français, then you go over to teamliquid.net and click on the French link that is now running and operational. You shouldn't need to listen to the Englishman babble anymore on that particular subject. Alright, so we'll have a look at each of the groups in turn. We're going to try and recap as much as we can possibly remember, because we've cast a hell of a lot of matches in this particular tournament.
Yeah, we've cast a lot, man. So where are we going to start?
Well, I think we shall start at Group A. That's probably the one that makes the most sense. And I should point out that we have 1 contestant from each group in this show.
Yes, we do. So, looking over at Group A, where we saw Marine King go 4-0, just clean sweep everybody there. It wasn't even close. You know, dropping 2 single maps across a total of 10 is, of course, incredible. But if we, you know, go back to, you know, it's almost like a couple of months back now when we first started doing IronSquid, this was the group that had the biggest drama, I feel, out of every single one, where it come down to a single map between, or not even a single map between 3 players, right? So we saw Boxer go into that incredibly long series against Marine King, where we saw them end up in a draw on Antigua Shipyard.
Indeed.
And that was almost in Boxer's favor, that Boxer could have won the series if he hadn't have lost that draw, or kind of got into that draw scenario, which Marine King forced out of him. And then in the regame, Marine King won. And that's when everything exploded. Marine King took that opportunity away from Boxer, of course. Boxer finally ending 2-2 instead of 3-1. And that actually pushed Puma through as second place because of having a better map record, which has been a story across kind of every single group here.
Yeah, it has, honestly. It's been unbelievably impressive from all of those guys, and we've seen some crazy drama as a result of this group stage and just the way that it's set up. It's 5 people in a group, but only 2 advance, so you can really get down to the nitty-gritty there.
And I can't believe how that ended. It was just an incredible Group A to start us off, really.
Yeah,
Todd,
definitely.
unfortunately, had a lot of hype coming in, especially against his first game against Boxer 2. You know, he took the game on Tal'Dorei Malta, had a bit of a shaky game on Antigua Shipyard, but Terminus, he had the game in his wraps. He had that game won. If we remember, if anybody with good memories could go all the way back to Terminus, he was literally like 5 bases versus 3, if not more. Boxer pulled this incredible comeback, and I mean incredible, fighting by so much supply behind, so much resources behind as well, and he just picked off the expansions, and then had a perfect engagement. There's nothing more to say. A perfect engagement to win the game. And it was an incredible comeback. And Boxer looked a bit shaky. But after that win, you know, he went on to beat Rhett as well. And Todd, as soon as he lost that series against Boxer, it felt like his confidence just shot straight out. Because then he went on to lose versus Marine King, lose versus Puma, and then finally lose versus Rhett. And Todd, though, even though going 0-4, still is one of the best foreign Protoss players, not Korean when I say foreign. So there's still a lot more from him outside of this tournament, but he did kind of crash and burn here. But once again, you know, on the throne, we see Marine King.
Yeah, man, it was so sad to see Todd go that way. But I think the story that a lot of people didn't talk about in that group, and I think even we haven't focused on that much, was actually Rhett. Because if you look at the statistics, he was one map away from going through. If he'd had one more map, picked up one more map in pretty much any other matchup, he would have been 6-5 against Puma, and bearing in mind that Rhett beat Puma, it would have gone head-to-head, and he would have actually gone through. So it's a bit heartbreaking, I think, for Rhett, even though he acquitted himself very well in a very tough group. And, of course, Rhett fans, that he didn't get to advance, and it all came down to one single map.
Yeah, and a lot of the times you can be like, oh, thank God I won that game 2-1. It doesn't matter, I dropped the game in the middle, I still got the 3 points, or whatever you look at it as, but that single map being dropped, you know, could have pushed him through, unfortunately.
Yeah, it could, and it did not. But that was the result there. You had Marine King, and then you had Puma. Puma, gotta say, certainly looking very vulnerable in terms of some of the guys who've actually gone through in this tournament. I'd say, at the moment, Puma's probably the most vulnerable in the round of 8, aside from Symbol. And I say that not because Symbol is bad, or indeed because Puma is bad, because in the case of Symbol, he's inexperienced at this kind of level, but in the case of Puma, he's dropping a lot of maps, and he is losing to people that you really wouldn't think he should be.
Yeah, Puma had this very sharp rise to fame within StarCraft 2, and he's kind of just stayed at this consistent level where I feel that everybody else has just kind of slowly overtook his incredible fast rise. And yeah, like you said, he's dropped a lot of maps in this tournament. He's lost 5 maps overall, and like we said, just scraped through two wins and of course 2 losses. And today has to go up against you know, MMA, the revenge match, I suppose you could say, from MMA's point of view, having lost to him at the Intel Extreme Masters. This is going to be a very difficult day for Puma, of course, but still could go either way. And that kind of sums up Group A. And you know, Group A, like we said, well, the biggest highlight of that was that drama where Boxer was almost, you could say, robbed from a win, robbed from a placement through to the next stage.
There were people that were literally hating on Marine King after that, honestly. They really were, because it's like saying, well, Marine King was already through at that point, that's the thing. Boxer's final game against Marine King, and then that's what ended up happening there. But there's a couple of things to consider. One, you don't want to give a series away. Yeah, under any real circumstances. And in that drawn game, it was so equal, so absurdly equal, that it was really hard to call one way or the other. Secondly, the games weren't necessarily played in that order. So if Marine King, if that was not in fact his last series, and we don't really know whether it was or it wasn't, then him dropping that could have put his tournament life in jeopardy. So he wouldn't have wanted to do that one way or the other. And at the end of the day, you're brought into a tournament to win games. And that's all you concern yourself with. You don't concern yourself with whether or not Boxer ends up going through if you happen to drop this. You concern yourself with, I need 2 map wins. I need to win this series, just like I would need to win every other series.
Yeah, that's the mentality of a pro gamer. Should be tunnel vision on one goal alone, and that is to win.
I would tend to agree. All right. Let's move on to Group B. Once again, a reminder, the games will hopefully be kicking off in about 8 minutes. They may be somewhat delayed because of an electrical fault on the French stream's end. We'll be starting our games at the same time that those guys are. I want to talk a little bit about Group B. Group B, well, we had another 4-0 success story in that group, and that was, of course, MC. MC with the highest performance of any player in this tournament in terms of maps won to maps lost, closely followed by Marine King and Nesty.
Yeah, I mean, he 2-0'd Idra, of course, as he doesn't lose for Zerg players, kind of, you know, not even Idra. He's had that famous rivalry with Idra for a very long time now, and clean swept Symbol and Idra very quickly. A very big result here, I suppose you could say, is MC 2-0 in MVP. MVP, a little bit shaky recently, has had, you know, carpal tunnel injury. He's also been in a car accident as well, so he just hasn't been the same MVP that won the GSL. The closest match that MC had was, of course, against Thorzane. Thorzane being a remarkable Terran player in the European scene, if not globally. Managed to take a game away from MC on Daybreak, but MC, at the end of the day, still closed up that series. only dropping one map is just so incredible. But that shows MC's strength. You know, he's such a talented individual, has had his downfall towards the latter half of 2011, and like we said earlier today, is that he's back and he's here to win.
Yes, he is, without question. He is a monster right now. He really is. And his slump didn't really last all that long, did it? And there are other players that people are saying are slumping as well. Just today, Nesty drops out of Code S again. You know, this is the second time this has happened recently.
Yeah, it's, you know, every different tournament has its ups and downs, whether it be one day you play bad and you get immediately knocked down, or to the next you play good and you win the tournament. And that's what we're going to be experiencing a lot here today with a single best of 5. If you're under the weather, if you're not feeling in the mood to play, or whatever you have in terms of excuses and reasons, then you're going to be out of the tournament. It's a must-win here today, of course. Looking at other stories in there, you know, Symbol manages to go through, and he's a clear underdog, of course, qualifying to get into the main tournament itself here. Symbol is a player that's very underrated. He's a very intelligent Zerg player, come from Brood War, actually. Used to be a B team in Brood War, most recently transferred over into StarCraft 2. Had an incredible run, I feel. You know, starting off his run here, 2-0 against Idra, unfortunately did drop the series against MVP and also MC, but because of his record in the other games, just going 2-0, he managed to scrape through very, very closely with 5 maps to 4, whereas Idra and MVP both at 2 wins, 2 losses, but at 4 wins and 5 losses in terms of map score.
Yeah, well, Idra saved his ass in that one, really. Pulled him out of the fire by defeating MVP 2-0, which was the biggest surprise there. By the looks of it, and we were looking at the map scores and things like that, MVP went 4-5 in that group, but had beaten Symbol. So if it had ended up being 5-4, if Idra had dropped a map against MVP, then MVP would have actually gone through instead of Symbol. It was only the fact that Idra managed to astonishingly 2-0 clean sweep the King of Terran that he was able to go through. But it also highlights another interesting thing, that both of the qualifiers, there were only 2 IronSquid qualifiers, both of the guys that qualified are also in the round of 8.
Yes, I can't, you know, that's a story I've just heard and witnessed so many times in so many different tournaments. I guess the biggest example is Morrow from 2010, when he qualified or got brought in last minute for the Intel Stream Masters and then won the whole thing. And then likewise you can say for Puma 2, when he qualified through the open bracket for NASL Season 1 and then won the entire thing as well. And maybe we can see this happen here again. Symbol, though, as you said, you know, narrowly scraped through Group B. He is also, alongside Puma, in terms of the weakest links for the final 8 here. I feel that Symbol, especially with his game that is played tomorrow against Marine King, you know, that's, if he wins that game, then he can win the entire tournament. You know, there's no doubt about it. But that is the biggest challenge that I've seen Symbol have throughout his entire StarCraft 2 career. This is it. He's on the big stage now. He wins that game, he goes to Paris, and that's his biggest achievement within StarCraft 2. So maybe we're going to have a lot of pressure under the youth as well. I think he's like 19 years old or something as well. So that's a lot of pressure to be under.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And there is, of course, the advantage of coming from an underdog position where people don't expect you to win, especially with Marine King in his current form. He's dominant. But what we do know is that Symbol's strongest matchup is CVT. And he's performed very well against teammates like Pult, for instance, and in his qualifier, he ended up knocking down several very competent Terran players.
Oh man, he had such an incredible run within that qualifier, which, you know, said to everybody, this is why I'm in the IronSquid tournament. Yes, there's 1,000 fantastic players here, but I deserve this position too. He did also get grip, you know, as we said, go through by the brink of death, but just manage it, and he is through to the round of 8. And unfortunately, Idra MVP Thorzane, a big story too, just 0-4 straight out, does not qualify to go through there. But MC's helping to keep the Terran players down, I suppose you could say, being the only Protoss player to go through MC, and the second Zerg player, or you could say the first Zerg player, and the second alongside Nesty to advance here into the round of 8.
Indeed, and there is a possibility of an all TvT round of 4. It could happen the way that things have been put together. There are 5 Terran that have qualified through. There weren't a lot of Protoss at all. And the funny thing is that 3 out of 4 Protoss were foreign. So MC was kind of going through as the guy that we thought would, even though Mana had a shot at it, certainly, and Hazelweb's performed pretty well too, but still, it was a struggle, without question, for all of the other guys. We're going to have a look at Group C. Once again, we are effectively filling time here while we wait for the French stream to catch up due to electrical problems they had over there. So we'll be starting our games at the same time that the French and the Russian streams do. So, Group C. Alright, so this was a pretty damn intense group, which once again resulted in 2 Terran players making it through to the round of 8. But it was a much, much closer group than we might have expected, honestly.
Yeah, despite, Group A and B having 3 players with 2 wins and 2 losses and just coming down to map score, I feel that Group C was, like you said, a very close group. We did have MMA and Jakchi just go through with 3 wins and 1 losses, but it could have really gone either way. We saw Mana pull off one of the biggest wins he's had most recently, where he beat MMA 2-1. Securing that victory to set himself as 1-1. Of course, he lost versus Stefano, which I don't think anybody really predicted and that to go any other way. But Jakchi also came from behind here. Started off with his first game against MMA, just 0-2, that's it, straight down. But then he managed to crawl back. He beat Alive 2-1. Alive is a fantastic Zerg versus Terran player.
Yes.
He then went on to beat Mana, who Mana, has got one of the best, if not the best, Protoss versus Terran in Europe. He beat him swiftly 2-0, and then went on to I can't even describe how hard Jakchi slapped Stefano down. It was the most one-sided series I think this tournament had seen. Jakchi on Antigua Shipyard contained Stefano with 4 Hellions for like 15 minutes while he set up 3 bases, double engineering bay. The economy was incredible. And then on Daybreak he did exactly the same thing, and Stefano was flicked out so easy. And with that win, Jakchi secured his place in the round of 8 alongside, of course, one of the best Terrans in the world, MMA.
Indeed. Well, you know what I hear, Apollo? The French are ready. That means the British are also ready. So if you are prepared as much as I am prepared, then we can kick off with our first best of 5 series for today, which is going to be MC versus Alive.
Wow, what a fantastic series this is going to be. This is not going to be a boring best of 5. This is aggression versus aggression. And it's sure going to be an amazing best of 5 here.
Yeah, man. All right, are you ready? Because I am. I am hyped for this series. Okay, fantastic. Well, we will not keep the baying crowds waiting any longer. So, if you're ready, let's kick it off right about now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cloud Kingdom, and it's my pleasure to bring you SKMC. He is in the blue trunks, he is playing Protoss to the northeast, versus his opponent, it's the one and only Fanatics Alive. He is in the purple, playing Terran to the southwest.
We did talk a little bit about MC Got here, but Alive is, the guy in Group D, we kind of skipped there to get into this game, but Alive kind of faced his fear, which is the Zerg, the Swarm. He has had bad results versus them. He went on to beat everybody aside from Nest T there. Of course, Nest T is Nest T, but he managed to beat Lenok and Nurcho, securing his place in the next round here. But this is not Zerg. This is his best matchup by far. Well, I not really by far. I guess this Terran versus Terran is pretty good as well. But this matchup, he does not lose. His win rate and maps won to maps lost alone in 2012 is incredible. It's a 75% win rate. He doesn't lose versus Protosses recently, and these are maps lost, not series. In 2012 in the international scene, he's lost 1 series. That's it, and that was at the beginning of the year. He's just got so better. He just understands how this matchup works with the recent metagame changes, how to be aggressive. That's the key here. If you let Protoss sit back, if you let them defend, they will walk over you. Alive puts a stamp on that, and we saw him prove that at IPL 4, where relentless aggression will reward you with that win.
Yeah, however, he is going up against a guy that you can almost say the same thing of. The guy who's been murdering Terran, simply not losing against Terran lightly, the mighty SKMC. So I can't imagine that this series is going to be anything other than absolutely explosive right out the gate.
Yeah, MC has a multitude of different styles that he can deploy against Alive. He can be very aggressive and you know, kind of play or kind of fight fire with fire, I suppose you could say. But on the same time, he can be a more slower, a more greedy opponent to play against and really sit back on the defensive side. So I'm very excited to see what MC's got in tag for us here today. But Alive's already shown us that, okay, he's going to be going for one barracks expansion, of course, working on his economy to begin with, so no early aggression. But it's the mid-game where he truly shines with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Get him started off nice, solid economy. Doesn't really need to worry about taking gas first at this stage. The question is, will MC decide to get aggressive right off the bat here as well? Putting down another pylon, has got his cybernetics core up. He's only taken one gas thus far.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to go for a one gateway expansion here, and then maybe throw down a couple of extra gateways and then try to do something. The early stages, it's very, very risky, especially if Alive throws down a bunker relatively fast. But we do see the second barracks coming down for Alive, who looks like he may be skipping... Okay, no, he's not going to skip the third one. He is going to throw down the third as well, and then get the gases. We can get the tech labs, we can get STEM, combat shield. Has not thrown down a bunker yet, but that may be something, especially against a player like MC, that he will want to do very shortly here, as, you know, that aggression could, of course, catch him off guard, which is already coming across the map, man.
Yeah, here it comes. Zealot on the way right now just to engage against the Marines of Alive, who can very, very easily kite that around. Not too much of a problem. Excellent micro from Alive there. Saves absolutely everything. No problem at all.
And now the Stalker does come in. Is going to get an SCV kill there, maybe a second, but there are too many Marines now. 4 Marines, as long as they have higher ground, will push the Stalker back. We do have the expansion coming down for MC, and it was scouted immediately by Alive, who also gets the scout of the gateways coming down, and also the lack of the second gas. So Alive, upon seeing this, is like, oh, actually he's going to steal it, which is really, really interesting here.
Yeah, it's not exactly common, especially as Terran. Stealing gas is quite difficult, but the thing is there's nothing in the base to stop him doing that, and he actually gets the refinery up to a really good health amount. It's going to take a while to clean that out of the way, and it also means that Stalker's going to stay in the base. It can't be prodding at the frontier either. It's a nice little maneuver there from Alive. It does filter down the options that MC actually has at this stage.
Yeah, it's going to keep the sentry count low, and especially if he wants to go for the robotics facility soon to find out what's going on inside the main base of Alive, he has to... That's 100 gas for the robotics facility. It's also 75 gas for the observer. 175, that's all he has right now, and that's excluding any extra sentries or stalkers he wants to build. So that's actually a pretty nice maneuver there, and I feel that MC is always going to choose this option, which is to throw down the additional gateways with the excess minerals he has now, so we're at a total of 5. Here is this mid-game aggression, but Alive is walking across the map with units. This could be so dangerous if he was to lose this and walk into this aggression straight against it.
Yeah, that would be really unpleasant. Honestly, he doesn't really have a lot going for him in terms of these units. They're just naked Marines, doesn't have stim, doesn't have anything whatsoever. Now moves into engage, gets a good catch. That's a really slow response there by MC, honestly. Not able to get the Stalker out of the way, trying to maneuver these sentries out of the way as well, and Alive's going to go for it right here and do as much damage as he can. Warping comes in, the Marines just slide out of there, and the aggression continues here from Alive. Wants to try and catch that Stalker, and needless to say, MC is going to try and avoid that from happening. He's able to get out of there as well, but an interesting little start there by Alive to pick that Stalker off, and the funny thing is he can just now wander back with these Marines, no problem. In fact, he's even going to get a couple of Zealot kills here.
Yeah, that's pretty good there by Alive, just maximizing that, but MC has planted down a pylon at the south side now. Here is the aggressive stance. 5 gateways have finished up. He is now just kind of listening into his gateway, into his Nexus, sorry, just to get the right amount of probes, currently at 40, but he's going to be coming very, very shortly. He's got to be careful that what MC's trying to do is keep the units in the center there and bait him out, and then come around the back with sentries and zealots, which we can see. There's only one bunker here. Stim is 40 seconds away from completing. A second bunker is coming down, though.
Ooh, Alive's heading down the bottom here. He's suspicious, and he spots the reinforcements. This is going to be absolutely massive here. He takes out a sentry, immediately forces wasted energy on another, and this attack has now been spotted, giving Alive more time, and that's exactly what he's trying to buy at the moment. He needs that stim up, he needs to complete these bunkers, and MC losing that sentry and being delayed here is going to blunt this attack quite significantly. Here it comes, focuses down on one bunker, it goes down immediately before the others complete. Force fields now placed down to attempt to prevent this Marauder from escaping. They're able to do so, but the 2 bunkers complete, and that is it. MC knows that that first wave is not going to do anything, cancels that aggressive pylon there as well.
And immediately throws down 2 gases. He's got to be careful not to lose his units. He does have a lot of force fields left to wrap around if he does decide to choose to, but has to be outside the radius of those bunkers though. And unfortunately does miss with the force field. Well, grabs 2 Marauders, but could have done better there.
Yeah, we always say that MC's very precise with his force fields. He never wastes any. He always puts it down precisely where he means to. Getting 2 Marauders, not too bad. Not really sure what he's doing with those Zealots. They charge right into the mouth of death for no real reason there whatsoever. MC now having to back off, but he does take his 3rd in the background here.
Oh, this is very dangerous play by MC, especially with losing a couple of units there. Immediately throws down the robotics facility. I don't even know if he can build an observer straight away. He has to go into an immortal, especially because he's thrown down this 3rd nexus. He throws down 3 additional gateways as well here, but +1 attack is just about to finish here, as well as combat shields, and the first 2 medivacs are out here. There's not that many units for Alive though. That's the one good thing for MC. As he did get supply bulk just a little bit whilst that was all going on. But right now, this little timing with +1 with 2 medivacs, there's no splash damage here. So it's going to have to rely on good force fields, wrapping around the units and making sure, of course, that Alive doesn't decide to split up his forces and catch MC out of position, which is exactly what he's planning to do here.
Indeed, and MC doesn't really have any information about that. He sees an army moving across the map. He might think that's a little bit too small. There is the possibility, of course, that there's going to be a split up here, and MC now moving his entire force out to crush the expeditionary army of Alive. In the meantime, of course, as we can see on the minimap, the 2 dropships are heading towards the 3rd base now. In fact, passing directly over it to the point where he wasn't even expecting it to be there, but is now just going straight for the main mineral line.
And he's going to get probes. There is a small squad on the 3rd base as well. Going to target down the Nexus. Maybe it can get it down, especially if MC warps units into the main base.
Indeed, and most of these units do move out there. There's not a lot of pressure coming in from Alive on that Nexus now, and there should be enough units to throw that back here. That's the cleanup, and 1 dropship goes down, a 2nd fully evacuates. As regards to how much damage was done there, Alive's killed 14 workers up to this point, very significant, and gives him an economic edge at this point. MC looking to stop this 3rd from going down. He's able to save it at the moment.
MC's macro is incredible though. He's already at 8 gateways with the robotics facility. The one thing he is falling behind in is upgrades. Due to the amount of pressure he's been under, is that he didn't have time to upgrade anything. He had to throw down more gateways, throw down more units. So in that, he has to kind of throw down double forges to kind of catch up. As we can see, +2 is on the way. +1 is near completed for Alive, who's thrown down the Ghost Academy as well. Understanding that, you know, there's no really money for him to tech up to Colossus with. He has to upgrade, and he knows everything. And Alive is just reading this like a book. And now we do have 2 medivacs making their way to the right. We'll be looking for a position on the natural here. Ooh, this is going to be very dangerous actually, as MC decides to throw down a 2nd robotics facility and robotics bay instead of upgrading. He has to go for a mid-game kill. He's not playing this out late.
No, he's not, certainly. He is way behind on his upgrade count already. The +2 infantry weapon is well on its way now. And this Twilight Council will finish Blink before this drop ends up coming in. There's a big push coming down the center as well, once again going for this multi-pronged approach. And in comes the drop, going straight for the mineral line once again. Not focusing on Twilight Council or anything along those lines. Now he goes for it, but a big aggressive Blink coming in right here by MC. And focusing down, gets 1 medevac. Twilight Council is eliminated, but the research did complete, and MC gets the cleanup there once again, but not without taking some fairly significant losses. Those Marauders have the upgrades to really deal out the pain to a heavy Stalker army.
He did lose a lot there. I mean, he's killed a lot of probes though. 22 probes throughout the game is good. The best thing that happened there though is he saw the robotics bay and also saw a 2nd robotics facility now. He knows about both of them. So he is building Ghosts, but he has to start thinking about a 2nd starport of his own.
Yeah.
Start producing those Vikings and start upgrading them as well. Right now he hasn't clicked. I'm not sure if he did click on the robotics facility, as it was still a building structure. So that's something that actually may not go well for Alive here. And he's still building medivacs. It's getting a little bit scary here. Remember, there's no upgrades for MC. That's it. He's banking on Colossus just ripping everything apart before the upgrades get out of control, which they are starting to get out of control for Alive. +2 attack now finishing. He will be solving that +3 soon, but there's still no Vikings in production. I don't think he saw it.
No, I don't think so. He should have reacted by now if he had. The one thing that is going in the favor of Alive at the moment is that he does have a very heavy ratio of Marauder to Marine, more so than usual here. That's going to make his force very resistant to Colossus, and it's also going to mean that he can get those big stims, which is all that he can do. He's got to stim around the side, flank and destroy the Colossi, and with these upgrades, he might very well be able to do so.
I'm still so confused why Alive hasn't started Vikings. He definitely saw the robotics bay. You know, maybe he didn't see the second robotics facility, but he has to start Viking production. Let's have a look at the Colossus. There's already 2 Colossus out. There's 2 more about to pop. And with good force field, it doesn't matter about upgrades. Colossus will shred everything here. So he has to be so careful, especially now that MC is finally starting his upgrades, but so incredibly far behind. But Alive is getting ready. MC does have Blake, picks off a unit straight away, but where are the Colossus? They need to get over there.
Yes, they do. We've got a force of Immortals coming around the flank here. He's looking to try and trap Alive and destroy him. And there are the Colossus. And as you said, well, there's nothing to actually hit them at the moment. The Immortals come around the flank to start crushing the Marauder count right here. And MC overrunning this army right now.
Oh man, that's why he had to start this earlier. This is so bad, but there's still a small squad of Marauders with +2 attack. May target the Nexus down at the north side here. As MC is running after the remaining units, he is not going to be able to get the Nexus, I feel, but he's so in danger at the front of his base.
Indeed, here it comes. There's still 3 Immortals in that group, and once again, upgrades don't matter against Immortals either. EMP landing in the center right there, making use of those ghosts, but no answer for Colossi as of yet. SCV's now coming off the line. MC looking at absolutely got this. It's a pile of dead everything right here as MC brutalizes Alive on the front.
Oh my god, Alive is in so much trouble, but the Colossus just not getting the damage done there at the front. Marauders.
There's the stim.
Oh my god.
That's what he needs.
Get right up to the Marauders.
No force fields. That's what happens when your meat wall is down. The Colossus finally falls, and Alive is able to hold on to that. Takes so much damage in the process, but he holds his natural.
Oh my god, he should not be alive. Ha 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 ha. Right now,
I see what you did there.
That was really bad from MC there. Should not have gone up there. Had an awful position to fight. Had no backup sentries whatsoever. He is now upgrading still and is still building Colossus, but he lost 4 Colossus for free there. That's incredible. The Viking count has now started. The upgrades still very much so favored for Alive here. But wow, did MC just drop the ball hard.
He really did. He got overly impetuous. He was able to crush at the third base. His engagement was brilliant. It's exactly what he needed, but he pushed a little bit too hard there, I feel. It would have made more sense, I think, to try and flank and do damage to the third. It's just easier to get around there, and it's also easier to get a good position and escape. Charging up that main ramp did not benefit him at all. The only thing that he got from that was a lot of SCV kills. Admittedly, mules kind of make up for that, but it has equalized the economy somewhat after Alive had done so much damage to MCs.
Yeah, but unfortunately for MC, Alive is about to take a 4th base here as well, so he can start spreading the mules down onto this new base and keep or preserve the other expansions. There is a single Marine on the left-hand side which did scout the Nexus, so he knows that that 4th has come down, but the Viking count is the only thing that's not really good here for Alive, is that the Vikings are not upgraded. Even though he has Vikings now, they're still going to be going up against +2 Colossus very shortly here as the 2-2 upgrades are coming down. But 3-3 is finished, and this is such a heavy Marauder composition here that it may not even matter. There's no Storm, it's just the Colossus left.
Yeah, it's very true. Zealots at the front right now, no sentries either to prevent this. That's probably the worst thing. It's not even a case of just saying, oh, well, there's Vikings. The stim could just go right through and shred the Colossus. He can get a great surround on them if there are no sentries in play. He needs all that gas for upgrades, for Templar Archive, and to get his Colossus count up. There are also no Immortals in this composition this time around.
Yeah, he's just going to have to rely on the Zealots, which aren't even that high of a count, especially with Ghosts coming in here. They don't have close, but they can definitely get close enough.
Yeah, here it goes, and a massive concave right here for the one and only Fanatics Alive. He is looking to try and bring those Colossus down. He can't do it quite fast enough, but the Zealot count has now collapsed. Alive needs to look to push his way through there. Archon's at the front to try and hold it down, but it's not enough. There are too many Marauders, and that is the GG. Wow, what a performance there from the one and only Alive.
Yes, really, really nice performance there by Alive. A little bit weird that, I mean, he definitely, and I was checking his vision and what he was looking at the time, saw the second robotics facility on the natural, and 100% saw the robotics with the medevac inside the main base, but a very, very late switch over to Vikings there, which almost cost him game number 1 here against MC, until MC made a colossal mistake on the natural there, attacking into such a small choke area. Colossus not attacking, no sentries, nothing. And Alive managed to beat an army supply larger than his with 4 Colossus without any, Vikings out there. And that was an incredible, incredible little maneuver there. But wow, MC did drop the ball there. But Alive comes out incredibly well and takes map number 1 of this best of 5 series.
Oh yeah, so some good stuff right there from him. Very, very aggressive play there by MC as well, but just slipping up, getting a little bit too confident, I feel, charging in there, and well, upgrades are really, really good. There's no question about that.
Yeah, that was an incredible, incredible game. And MC, well, this map pool does include Terminus, the go-to map for every single Protoss we've seen throughout the tournament here. Will he decide to go to that? One thing's for certain, he can't drop this next game. Going down 0-2 is very, very difficult to come back from.
It's struggling. It really, really is, I gotta say. And Alive's just looking so great against Protoss at the moment. Scary, scary stuff from him. We're going to be taking a short break, folks. When we come back, we will be bringing you Game 2 of Alive versus MC. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You're gonna have to give me a second, unfortunately.
Terminus is the map choice.
Yes, it is. Please forgive me for 1 second. Talk, Apollo. Say something. Anything.
Okay. I'm here. I'm alive.
It's okay. I'm having problems over here. I just need to fix it.
Alright, so we are going over to Terminus next, everybody, which of course the Protoss go-to map here, and the very simple reason for this is of course the playstyle of Protoss versus Terran recently is that Protoss has to defend when they grab these early 3 bases, and Terminus is such an easy place to grab that 3rd base, and it's easier to defend too because you only have one kind of pathway into the natural area, and this is the go-to map for everybody here. And this may be a difficult game for Alive depending on how he wants to play it, especially because it's a very large open map, which means that aggressive, that, you know, relentless style is a lot more difficult to pull off here, being such a large map. Of course, the distances between bases relatively far away. How you doing over there, Mr. Biscuit?
We're all good, we're all good.
Alright, man, I'm ready.
I hate it so very much. If XSplit were looking for an endorsement, they're not going to get one. Their latest version has got some problems. Never mind. It is my pleasure to bring you Fanatics Alive. He is in the purple trunks playing Terran to the south of Terminus versus his opponent. It is the one and only SKMC, who is in the blue trunks playing Protoss to the west. And
this is, of course, a very macro-friendly map, of course, if they decide to do so, but we do have a second SCV coming out. It is a little bit early for a regular scout, but of course could be throwing down a second barracks. Where are you going, little SCV? Or is he just going to go ahead and... Oh, yeah, it is going to be a second barracks. Okay. So I was thinking it's a little bit early to send that guy out, but there is a second barracks coming down. But MC, unless he starts to look at things, I mean, that still could be a scouting SCV, so it's not like he can count SCVs to know the difference. Oh, yeah, as I was saying, macro map and Alive playing to the map, man.
Yeah, Terminus, Nexus first, incredibly common, honestly, and thing is, Alive knows that, and he's in a great position for this as well. He hasn't got the scout on where his opponent is yet, but he's pretty damn close with what he's got.
Yeah.
His barracks are in a really nice position to start applying some major pressure to his opponent.
I mean, this is still holdable, though, by MC, despite being, you know, 2 wrecks down. It depends if you know, how many SCVs he's going to bring. He should be looking to bring 5, 6, I guess, well, along with this to try and get a bunker placement down right on top of that natural. And he has taken gas. He's got a lot of chronobusts saved up, currently at 50. He's going to have to get zealots and pull probes of his own. The key thing here is that probe, still alive, now is taken down inside the main base of Alive. Is he going to be pulling SCVs, though? That's the big question here. Without SCVs, this may be actually holdable.
Yeah, and it's not outside of the possibility to see that from Alive. He's done it before. Generally speaking, he ends up doing it against Zerg as opposed to Protoss, but he could pull it off one way or the other. In fact, he did do a very similar all-in versus Hazelwobs, if you recall correctly. He's gonna pull some SCVs. Not all of them, though. It looks like he kind of respects MC a little more than that, but he is going to be adding in a lot more SCVs to tank damage, as well as try to construct bunkers. And the first Zealot is out, but it's up against 6 Marines plus SCVs on the way.
Yeah, he has to try to get us surrounded on these Marines with these probes, but Alive should not allow that to happen with all these excess Marines coming in and the SCVs. Oh dear God, MC's in trouble. Oh,
you're not kidding. He really, really is at this point, and is now being forced away. He's gonna have to give up that Nexus. I don't think there's any real way around that, and he's just bunkering in his main base already, and Alive's really going for it right now, trying to bring that gateway down as much as possible. All the probes now being pulled off the line in order to try and deal with this. He needs to, of course, stop that bunker from going up in his main, and Alive stutter steps all the way down to the bottom, gets a good firing line on those probes. Probe count now at 15 versus 19 SCVs. Stalker micro, excellent here from MC, but he's still up against 10 Marines. The bunker's about to finish as well, in the main, right next to the gateway.
Yeah, with that bunker completing, the gateway will go down, and of course the Nexus is going to go down here. So MC in a world of trouble, still not out of it yet. He does have the excess chronoboost, which he's used in the main, on the cybernetics core and the gateway. He's still running our 14 probes here, but the problem is that Alive is building all the excess SCVs he's lost in the background here. The third Stalker is not going to get out either.
Oh, not by the looks of it. No, he gets
no,
it. Oh, so close. Alive actually focused fire on the Stalkers and not the Gateway for a second. So it did give him a little bit of an edge there. Nexus now taking an awful lot of fire. Very likely to end up going down here. The bunker is there. There are more gateways going up behind this. 3, in fact. He can't build any units right now. That's the real problem for MC.
Yeah, but as long as I mean, the Marines can't actually leave the bunker radius and enter the main base. 3 Stalkers should be able to beat this down, but if he gets surrounded now, if the units come out of the bunker, that's so daring from MC there to do that. But like I said, he should be able to kite quite a while, as long as he doesn't lose shield damage or unit health necessarily, or unnecessarily hit him.
Well, Alive knows that. Oh no! Oh no!
It's an in-control pylon.
An in-control pylon, man. Out of control pylon by the looks of it. And those gateways go down. And this is horrible for MC right now. Alive goes in for the crush. The probes coming around to try and fend this off. They get a good surround right there. He cleans it up unbelievably. There are more forces coming across the map, but actually there aren't all that many, and MC remains alive.
Oh man, he's alive, but he's down and bleeding incredibly hard.
There's the GG, man. He knows that he can't get out of this. You can hardly blame him either. I mean, what was he going to do? If he kept those gateways up, maybe he can rally for a counter-attack. Certainly, but you've got 2 command centers from Alive coming down in the background. You've got an excellent SCV count from Alive as well. So that is, once again, a very impressive kind of game, but in a different way there by Alive.
And as we said before we went even into this game, if NC drops this, it's so difficult to pull back here. You know, he has to win every single game, being a best of 5 now, to beat and knock out Alive from this tournament. MC 0-2, showing that he has struggled versus... And I mean, he lost in the GSL just this morning because of Virus. But, oh man, he is in trouble right now, and he could actually lose this. And that would be, like we said, an incredible big upset considering he was the player that went 4-0. He's the player that went 8 maps with just a single 1 loss in the group stages, and now is on the verge of being out of the IronSquid tournament.
Yeah, this could be a straight sweep right here by Alive. That would be quite a surprise, I think, for a lot of people. But at the end of the day, if you make your way through the qualifiers and then make your way through the group stage, then you're pretty hardcore. We've seen it time and again in a variety of different tournaments, including, of course, NASL. That's Puma's story right there, that he went through as a qualifier and then destroyed not only Season 1, but Season 2 of that tournament. That tournament effectively belongs to Puma. And Alive has an opportunity to do that, especially bearing in mind he comes off a very recent win in terms of IPL 4, and that was no pushover either. He's looking on great form at the moment.
Man, he is so... Oh, he's just out of this world right now. He really is performing so incredibly well. When he finished top 4 in the GSL, it was like, alright, this guy's like the best now. You know, he's not going to lose to anyone. But then had difficulty when the patch changed against Zerg and then fell down, like almost every Zerg he played. But since he's kind of fixing his Zerg, he's back to that same level that got him to the semi-final of Code S, and he's looking unbeatable.
He is. He really is. This is terrifying stuff coming in here from Fanatics Alive, and, well, I bet they're damn pleased they picked him up.
Oh, man. Fnatic, picking Alive up was just like the best thing that happened to that team. You know, he's just an incredible player, especially with his IPL 4 win, and he's showing it, man. He shows it.
Without question. Well, we're going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we'll be seeing whether or not Alive can 3-0 sweep MC right out of the tournament, the guy with the best map score in his entire group, in the entire tournament. Will he get knocked down so easily? We'll find out very shortly, folks. Don't go anywhere. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this absolutely stellar series between the one and only SKMC. He is in the blue trunks, he is playing Protoss to the northeast of Tal'Darim Malta, versus his opponent, it is the one and only Fanatics Alive. He is in the purple trunks, playing Terran to the northwest.
And if Terminus isn't the map for Protoss to pull back a series in Protoss versus Terran, then MC's just now gone to his map. He just forgets about race versus race, and this is MC's map. If anybody wants to look at the statistics for MC on this map against Terran, this guy doesn't lose here. He actually doesn't lose on Tal'Darim versus Terran. So this is, of course, naturally his choice here. And the reason why he doesn't lose is he plays a very aggressive style where we've seen so many Terran fall to such a simple maneuver where we have a pylon underneath the natural, and then he just walks the Stalker past the bunker and warps in units into the natural area and just takes games instantly. Yeah. And if he doesn't pull that off, then he will win in the mid to late stages of this game anyway. So really, really nice map choice here by MC, but the question is Alive just going to go ahead and say, screw you MC, take your map, but I'm going to win anyway?
He might. That's the thing, isn't it? Because we've had two Protoss-favored maps with two very specific strategies from MC. We've had Terminus, the strategy being Nexus first, really greedy map. Alive exploits it, takes the game without too much of a problem. Now we have MC basically playing his trump card, which is Tal'Darim Malta. I don't lose here. What happens if he wins here and then has to win two more on Alive's choice of map? That's really difficult.
Which is, of course, going to include Antigua Shipyard, the hell of Protoss players against Terran players. So he's going to have to fight an uphill battle here. But yeah, CC first here by coming down by Alive, who's like, alright, you know, you did Nexus first, I'm going to go CC first this game.
Yeah, it's a good map to do it on, honestly. He's kind of unfortunate that MC found it so soon, and MC looking to try and at least delay this for a little while. He is able to do so. He's forced quite a few SCVs to be pulled off the line in order to actually deal with this probe harassment, which is in itself kind of a victory there. He knows that he can't stop the command center, but he can slow everything behind it down just a little bit by putting on pressure there. And wow, he's actually bringing in 4 more probes across the map here.
Yeah, and he's chronobursting the gateway too. This is a pretty standard response we've seen from pretty much all Protoss players now against CC first. The probes now are going to pick off the SCV, and some extreme cases, the command center even gets cancelled. Yeah. And look at all the SCVs that he has to pull off here. The Zealot, though, is going to be the real sting here, that's sprinting across the map as fast as his little legs can carry him. But the first Marine is just about to be started. But this does delay that over command by a lot.
Yeah, which is what you want, isn't it? And the fact of the matter is there are less probes off the line than there are SCVs, which is in itself a great thing. Probes are just much better in general because, of course, they have regenerating shields. And now the Zealot coming in to start to do some more damage. I don't think he's going to be able to stop this command center from going up by the looks of it. He looks to try and get in there. Couple of swipes, he might get it. Oh, it completes just at the right time.
Yeah, but he does force a lift, and, you know, that slows down the economy, and MC behind this is just going to expand himself, and now he's kind of neutralized the situation, which is a fantastic move here, though he did lose a bit of mining time loss. Yep. Well, so did Alive, who had to pull just the same amount, if not more. I think he pulled 2 more SCVs than MC pulled probes here, so this is actually a very nice move here by MC, and look at the unit tab, 24 probes versus 16 SCVs. The Nexus is down, the orbital, or not even orbital because it was delayed, the command center now turning into an orbital, is landed and put inside the main base. A fantastic move here to start this game on Tal'Darim.
Yeah, it's what he needed, honestly, and it was a bit of a risk there by Alive, but it's the best of 5 mentality, isn't it? You're 2 games up, you're on your opponent's favorite map, take a risk, because maybe you can win it. If you don't, you've got 2 more maps to play with, which more to the point are your maps. They are your choice.
And command center now going to go across. He has quite a few Marines though. That's the big worry here. Is Marines, of course, for defensive purposes, but can all of a sudden turn very aggressive once he gets to an over 10 mark in terms of SCVs. Especially because MC has only just now got his first Stalker out and is chrono boosting into the gateway here instead of the Cybercore because he knows he needs units. There's no way Research Warp Gate is going to finish in time if he chrono boosts into it. So he's going to be like, alright, screw it. Let's get as many Stalkers out as possible, as that's going to be the key in pushing this little squad back if they do decide to cross the halfway line.
Yep, that's very, very true. MC now moving his Stalker in here, making sure that he's got just a little bit of a force, and he will be able to see that coming a mile away. Alive is going to push out, and of question is, will he achieve anything with it? Zealots actually do get a bit of a connection there. One Zealot down, second Zealot coming down here as well, with a Stalker to back it up here. Not exactly what I'd call a great trade one way or the other, but the possibility of Alive pushing out now is simply not there. He doesn't have the numbers.
Yeah, especially because he's adding the lab and reactor at the same time behind this, so he's actually planning to go and try and do a bit of damage, but MC shuts it down just by a few Zealots there, so his economy, of course, in no danger whatsoever, and he now has thrown down a robotics facility and 3 extra gateways here. The robotics facility, of course, will be used for an observer to see what the hell is going on behind things, but can also add the added damage of that Immortal pretty damn fast here. But let's have a look what Alive's doing, who actually decides to throw down a 4th barracks instead of an engineering base, instead of a factory here, which is of course going to just increase his output of units here, which is of course going to make him a much more dangerous player in the mid stages, as the majority of Terran players will only be working off 3 barracks.
Yeah, and if he can get that push and catch his opponent off guard, then he'll be in an absolutely fantastic spot. More often than not, you'll see Terran players will wait because, hey, we need to get the medivacs out, you know? But you don't necessarily have to do that. You can go with a timing push with upgrades. Stimpak and Combat Shield are actually timed pretty damn close together here. He could go for a push with that. He's not going to be able to get medivacs out in time in order to match up with that, but his next push, of course, will be reinforced in that respect. And more to the point, it means that if MC does go for any kind of timing push himself, then that should get shut down by the extra units that happen to be on the field.
I wonder if MC is going to throw down a robotics bay. I guess not, because he just reset or kind of warped in 2 more sentries, and he's going to continue with this instead. So it looks like MC is going to try and bust the front here, but with 2 additional bunkers here and Alive just understanding this is MC, he does this almost every single game, is going to pretty much hold this every time here because he's got full barracks as well. So even though MC is going to concentrate a lot of forces into this, I don't think it's really going to work, unfortunately, here for MC. And the big thing is he doesn't know about those 2 extra bunkers, so he's going to go for it anyway.
Yep, Guardian Shield now triggered just a little bit early, actually, there from MC. That's going to die off before he even makes proper contact with the enemy. But he now knows about the bunkers and is thinking, no, I don't think so.
No, he can't. It's never going to work there. But he did force bunkers and SUVs to be pulled off. But the 4 barracks count is starting to climb up now. And actually, there's a scan inside the main base from Alive who gets rid of the Observer, but Observer still gets everything. And there is that robotics bay coming down. So I thought this may happen, is that he's going to obviously take a 3rd base now, but at the same time go straight to Colossus. The same success that Squirtle, more than any other Pros player, has been receiving and having against any Terran player recently, and especially in these positions, because of course when Thermal Lance is done, he can start raining into the mineral line here, he can start to hit the refinery, and because of the later factory and the medivac's only just now starting at 11 minutes, Vikings aren't really going to be coming out, especially against Alive, who is now researching +1 attack from his engineering bay too.
Yeah, he doesn't have what he needs to get the count up high enough to compete with it. More to the point, MC's got a bunch of Immortals in his force as well that he's been able to build while this was going on. And he's been sitting on this amazing economy this entire time that's remained entirely untouched. Now, here comes the push from Alive across the map here. Scouting Factory being put into play just to give him some vision up the cliff. And his medevac count is only at 2 at the moment. MC may be in a position to actually hold this quite nicely.
Yeah, MC with good forces is going to hold this, but he is going to lose the assimilator for sure. That's like an easy pick-off that everybody's going to try to use on this map. The factory sees the unit count. There's a lot of sentries and a lot of zealots here. The upgrades, of course, equalize the moment, both of these players being at 0-0, but the first Colossus is about to pop out. So that's clearly going to push this in favor of MC, and Alive has to be very, very careful.
Yeah, Alive was thinking, should I elevate? Well, no. He decides he should not elevate. And here comes an interception right here from MC. And that's going to drive this army all the way down to the south of the map here. If it stands and fights, it's most likely going to get obliterated with the amount of firepower that's in there. Force fields go down, trap a few here and there. And there is the Colossus now in play. And an immediate lift here by Alive to flank all the way around to the main.
And MC already knows it. He whoops in 4 zealots. Brilliant, brilliant just anticipation here by MC in game reading, and already pulls the Colossus down, and immediately Alive has to pick up and GTFO. And we see MC throwing down 4 additional gateways in the back now as his 3rd base is finished. Just needs to transfer over that, but he's up to 8 gateways. Once again, though, delaying his upgrades. This time it's not as, you know, stressful for MC, considering there's only 1 engineering bay down and the second one only just starting. So this is actually going to play a lot more into MC's favor compared to that first game we saw on Cloud Kingdom.
certainly. The scouting factory is going to be driven away, unfortunately. I can't hide a factory in the trees. That would be ridiculous, but he's going to try and do it one way or the other. A lot of tech coming down here for Alive, backing up with a starport, and in fact that's a second starport, and an armory coming in there as well for him. So he's looking to try and get to +2 as quickly as he can. Might even start to work on that +1 ship weapon, which hurt him so badly in the first match. But since we don't actually have the forges up yet, only just started from MC, that's not too much of a concern for him just yet.
Yeah, MC has to kind of push out though, but be very careful with his units because he doesn't want to sit back and wait too long. He can sit back and defend 3 bases, of course, but he does want to just try to get some damage done, especially if he can control the Xel'Naga Tower, which he will do very shortly as he warps in his last few units here. But we do see double starports and the +1 ship weapons coming out this time, which is a great change from game number 1. He's going to be a lot more able to pick anything off here. The Templar Archives is coming down as well for MC, who does, once taken the gases on the 3rd base, start to tech switch over, start to throw that curveball to test his opponent's skill, to make sure that his Ghost Academy is down on a good timing, which it's not currently, which is a bit of a mistake here by Alive.
Indeed, and it's a mistake that MC is going to have to try and exploit one way or the other. Blink is about to kick in here, and he's moving his way across the map. Might be trying to do a little bit of harassment, but doesn't have the opportunity to do so just yet. Majority of Alive's forces just sitting here at the front, now looking to roll out, see what he can do with that. But MC has got himself control, at least he will in a second, of this Xel'Naga Tower. He's got this Force of Stalkers and the Observer here, so he's going to look to blink into the main.
Yeah, he could do a lot of damage here considering the forces, and MC knows the forces are on that Xel'Naga Tower now. The Observer goes up, just checks there's nothing there, and he's going to be able to do a lot of damage at the back.
Yep, there's the blink, going straight for the add-ons. Really nice decision there. Cut down the Marauder count very significantly, and that did really cripple him in game 1, so a good decision there. MC trying to work on a few more units. Could actually pick off what is Alive doing with those medevacs. I'm very surprised that MC didn't actually open fire on them immediately. But now he's going to get trapped by the looks of it as Alive tries to flank around the back. Now, there are enough Stalkers there to crush their way through and escape, but he has taken some fairly significant losses in the process.
Let's have a look at the Colossus count. Currently at 4, and there's 4 High Templar out that's soon to be with Storm. That's a lot of splash damage here. Not only did he, cut down the Marauder count, more importantly, cuts down the Ghost count here, and that's going to be the really big important thing here for MC, who has now officially switched over into High Templar and Storm as he warps in 2 more gates. But I mean, 2 more High Templar, 9 additional gateways.
Wow.
This kid ain't messing around as he throws down so much production here. And look at the money he has banked up. Already 1,200 minerals, and it's going to keep on climbing here. This basically means whenever he takes an engagement, wherever it may be, as long as he has a pylon close, we're going to see like 20 Zealots just go straight into the fight. And without a good amount of reinforcements, or even, basically, let me just put this down. And the underline here, Alive has to smash the crap out of MC. Otherwise, his reinforcements are just going to be way too much.
Exactly. He's got to win the engagement convincingly. It's got to be in his favor. And that's going to be difficult because MC's going to refuse to take an engagement unless he knows for a fact that he's going to have the edge. The only thing that Alive's got going for him at this stage, I would say, is a slight upgrade advantage. And a couple of Stalkers bled off there, but nothing that can't be very, very easily replaced. Scan goes down, actually identifies the Observer, immediately picking it off. Nice move there by Alive. We're going to see some, well, in fact, we've actually already back to full strength here for MC, who's just posturing at the moment, looking to try and find a way in. Those Colossus will die very fast with that many Vikings, but the point is, there are Templar and the possibility of warping in more behind that, which could immediately become Archons.
Personal cloaking is being researched. There is not an Observer with the army, which is a big thing here, and I don't even know where the Observers are kind of on the left-hand side. Let's have a look how many he does actually. He has 2. And that's going to be very dangerous. The second one is now just heading towards its army, so that is very smart actually there from MC. And he has, established a 4th base, which is very important here. As you can see, look at his resources, so big, but oh my god, MC, get the Stalkers away from the front.
Yeah, it doesn't want those to be anywhere near that. I like the fact that Alive is consistently scanning. Great feedbacks there by MC. Consistently scanning, he keeps picking observers off because he knows if he can complete personal cloaking, gets rid of the observer, he's going to have such a massive edge. MC slaughters his own High Templar for its insolence there, I suppose, just to clean up supply. Either that or just because he's really mad.
And we really mad. +3 attack from Alive is about 60 seconds away, and the Stalker control is awesome. 2 High Templar just going to go for it, but immediately get picked off there. MC very sloppy there, but has to be so careful. 3 other High Templar can't really jump to the front here. He's been so dangerous. A couple of snipes, and these guys go down.
Yeah, you got EMP'd as soon as you went in there. MC once again with the Stalkers at the front. At least he can blink out of there. The upgrade advantage is starting to close. In fact, they are the same at the moment, but very soon +3 weapons going to kick in, which is going to give a temporary advantage there to Alive. Single Marine goes and finds the 4th, or at least it will when it runs into that wall of cannons. And these guys maneuvering around, it's Ghosts versus High Templar. At the moment, it's in favor of the Ghosts. The Stalkers warp out there. Random Storm doesn't really get anything whatsoever. And now going straight in at the Stalker count, picking it off once again. Alive bleeding MC just a little bit here, but MC sitting on a massive bank.
And look at his natural by the 2-4. Just look at how many High Templar he's keeping away from Alive here. That is so much Storm capability there. And it will not stop raining here on top of the army of Alive, who has taken quite a damage to these Ghosts. There's only 5 there, and the Vikings, oh, this is very tense right now. +3 attack has finished for Alive, but not quite for MC. Just trying to possibly get around a decent flanking, but
there's the Observer.
Observer
coming in right in the right time, looking for it. Here comes that massive engagement. The Colossus get absolutely wrecked, as you might expect, but a lot of damage also being done to Alive. And the Storm is coming in at the back, and that's the big thing. The Vikings run right into it. Feedback nails down a medevac as well, and MC taking a great engagement there.
But look at the resources. There's no 4th base for Alive, who's just on 3 base. MC has 4. He can remax with whatever he chooses here, be it a single Colossus per time, as he doesn't actually have a second robotics facility, but more importantly, he has like 20 gateways. There's 17 Zealots being warped in at a single time. Back to click, snaps his fingers, 200 supply like that. And there's so many High Templar left. He lost so many Ghosts there. He has remade 6 extra Ghosts, but he doesn't have an army that can beat down MC. MC looking like he can come back right now, and Alive sends, you could actually say, half his army down the bottom here, looking for that 4th base, which is surrounded by cannons. There's a no-go area there for those units, and MC just controlling this game.
Yeah, looking for the 4th fight. Well, he would have found the 4th. It's actually lifted off just in time there. +3's really good. It doesn't really matter how many cannons you've got, especially when, once again, the out-of-control pylon in the center there, and the Nexus goes down with a nice push, but this is what you really need to be looking at. An intimidating army from MC crashes down on the 3rd base of Alive, and as you said, half his army went to go and take out that base, and what are you going to do against what's coming at you right now? The upgrade advantage has disappeared. The Storm goes down to prevent anything from going through that narrow corridor here, and Alive looking to get absolutely shredded at this stage.
Yeah, and MC doesn't care. 1 base or 10 base. He has 6,000 minerals, 2,500 gas. Storm's going to come down. MC can remax like 3 times over here. He is going to kill Alive, and Alive pulls his SCVs as a last resort. Oh
man, I tell you this for a fact, Apollo, MC obviously really likes surveys because he's got a hell of a lot of feedback coming down right here and brutalizing his way through the army in the natural. There's so little left for Alive right now, and there is no way in a million years he's getting out of this. Gets crushed into the corner, and there's the GG.
And that is why you cannot leave MC alone. He wins early, mid, late on this map. He doesn't lose here. And Alive, unfortunately, not hitting that same relentless aggression that we've seen him win tournaments with recently. Yeah. And now he has to just sit back, be like, I only tried to slow down MC once and it didn't work. If I do not slow him down, this will repeat itself 2 times in a row and has to change up in the next game.
Oh yes, indeed. MC right back into the fight. Takes 1 game, puts himself back in the running. We will be getting a 4th and perhaps even a 5th game in this particular series, which would be very exciting for all as far as I'm concerned. But,
yeah,
the concern right now the thing which really worries me, Mr. D. Apollo, is the fact that that was the trump card map for MC. Now it goes onto a lives map. And that... Yeah, that's going to get pretty grim, and it's actually going to be Metropolis.
Interesting little choice there. I mean, I guess, you know, he's still saving Antigua for later on, but it is playing a bit of a risk, of course, that maybe he has some special strategy for us on Metropolis here. But, oh man, this is getting pretty tense right now, especially because MC's used two maps that he should win on. Terminus, and he lost on it. Of course, he won on Tile Rim, but that means now that the remaining two maps are going to be favored towards Alive. This is going to be, like we said, a very much so an uphill battle for MC. But if anybody's got the experience to do it, then MC's been in this situation in grand finals, on grand stages, and he's probably sitting at home in his underwear with a dog on his lap, playing, probably having a cigarette and a cup of ramen at the same time.
Well,
so
thanks for that image. Can you pass the mind bleach over there, Apollo? That would be wonderful. Don't do that to our viewers. God, he is sexy and he knows it. I'll give you that, but really, that is not what we need right now.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of MC fans that are probably rejoicing over that image.
Rejoicing? I hope it's just rejoicing, Apollo.
I was thinking about which word to say, and I'm like, I almost said a bad word, but that's okay.
It's a European tournament. We can be at least PG-13, I'm sure.
Yeah, we can. So we'll have to find out what the next map... I mean, the next map is going to be, of course, Metropolis, but what are we going to see here?
Good question. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. Word from our sponsors. We'll be right back with the game on Metropolis, Game 4 of Alive versus MC. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Metropolis and SKMC. He is in the blue trunks. He is playing Protoss to the south of this particular shipyard. I assume it's a shipyard. It doesn't look like a Metropolis, honestly. I would think that, bearing in mind how metallic it is, there's got to be some kind of shipbuilding activity going on here.
I don't know. I'm looking around. Can't see any ships, unfortunately.
Well, I can't see any
Maybe they're just
housing
not
either.
here.
It's
There's actually like a helipad somewhere at the top left.
Really? Just a helipad?
Yeah.
This doesn't look like a metropolis at all. There's nothing living in this entire area. I don't know, man. I think this is false advertising. This is like one of those ads that you see where a country's desperate to shore up its tourism industry, so they rebrand, yeah? And this is exactly what it's like. Come to the metropolis. We've got amazing nightlife. We've got the best attractions, the hottest boutiques. That's essentially what's being done here. And in reality, it's just a hunk of metal.
Sounds like any place in Wales.
I was going to say, it actually sounds like Newport, doesn't it? Having been there for 2 hours, that's how long I could tolerate Newport. 2 hours, and then I left by the next train to London. Good God, that is what it is. Metropolis is Newport, I can guarantee. In fact, judging by the creep that's being spread over here, yes, it actually looks very similar to what I saw in Newport. Oh well, we've also got Fanatics Alive. He is in the purple trunks, he is playing Terran to the north.
An MC in the south, my friend, is the blue Protoss. And what I'm really worried about here is just looking over at Alive's base, as he's walled in, because the distances wherever you spawn, close by air or cross position, is pretty far for a probe to get across. And, you know, 10 out of 10 times here, you're going to be seeing Terran players wall in and hide what they're doing, whether it be a very fast command center, whether it be, you know, any cloak banshee or anything along those lines here, really keeping MC guessing. And when you're one game away from losing this series, guessing what your opponent is doing is the last thing you want to be doing.
Yeah, assumptions, the mother of all screw-ups. Don't do it. Assumptions make you lose games. Risky. Very, very risky.
So MC, because of, you know, how dangerous this could be for him, is going to have to play very strict and not cut any corners with his build. So, of course, he can still go one gateway expansion, but cannot be late on those additional gateways, cannot be late on his second gas and robotics facility. And even though we see the command center down on the lower ground here, oh, the probe is going to slip around the side. Actually, oh, I thought he was going to go to the third base, but does get the... No, he turns around.
Get in there. Get in there.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
He's gonna get it.
Okay.
It's okay. We egged it on, and it was eventually able to succeed. He's unfortunately gonna die, which wasn't part of the motivational pep talk, but never mind. It got the information it needed.
And we have a Zealot Stalker running across the map. Is he going to use another Chrono Boost on the gateway? Yes, he is. So a second Stalker behind that as well. And there's no bunker down again. So he's actually going to have to pull a couple of SCVs here to help with this. 3 Marines are down. He's probably going to throw down the double gases. Oh, no, he does decide to throw down the bunker this time, but 4 double gases, which is a bit of a change. But understanding exactly how MC plays and seeing the Zealot and Stalker already out on the map, he's like, oh, MC, okay, I'll throw the bunker down then.
Yep, he's going to get aggressive, and good position there to engage for Alive, gets the initial salvo off right there, and trying to control to make sure he doesn't lose that Marine, but it's going to go down one way or the other. Zealot looking to connect, and oh man, being a Zealot must be the worst thing in the world, seriously. You just chase after Marines until you get your charge upgrade, and maybe, just maybe, you get to touch one at some point, but that really is about it.
And there goes the second gateway down, and third in the main base of MC on 32 supply. And because he got the scout of that command center, they're like 6 supply ahead. And that's the greed, the probes that he can chrono boost out instead of being cautious. But sloppy here by MC does allow the SCV to get in and see the later gateways, to see the second gas coming down. So he now Alive knows, okay, cool. At the same time though, actually the Stalkers and Zealot actually make their way all the way to the natural. I'm gonna get trapped though, which is a little bit bad. Actually pretty bad.
I'm not really sure what was he trying to attempt here. I love the micro here by Alive as well, using that bunker as a safe haven to dodge back in. What I assume he was just trying to get into the main, but at the end of the day, the supply depot was up, and he ended up just walking his Stalkers into a trap. He couldn't get out of there.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate there by RMC, and now that's like a double confirmation for Alive. I was going to say the first confirmation is seeing the later gates and the second gas instead of additional gates, so he already kind of knows aggression's not going to follow up from this, and now he knows definitely after killing a Zealot and double Stalkers that there's no aggression coming whatsoever. So he actually immediately is like, happy days, and throws down double reactor and knows that he has the freedom of the world to throw these down. There's nothing coming his way, and that's a little bit unfortunate by MC.
Yeah, it really is. Reactors, as I guess some people might not even realize, throwing down reactors on 2 barracks like that has this, it just opens up this massive window where you can be hit really hard. If, for instance, he kept those Stalkers alive, if then he was able to get the follow-up. that would have been absolutely huge. Yes, you can catch up once you've got your reactors there, but it takes a couple of minutes to really get back into the swing of things in terms of your production. So, absolutely great decision there by Alive, knowing that his opponent really is not in a position to apply any kind of pressure. Although right now we're seeing 3 more gateways being added on, so bit of 6-gate pressure coming in from MC in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's a lot later though than earlier, for like the earlier gateways. So Stim will almost be completed by the time this gets there, if not completed. And plus now the double reactors will kick in and will overtake the production of the barracks without the reactors. So this is actually going to be very, very nice, especially because the starport's done. And this is the lateness of this kind of strategy here by MC, is that medivacs are going to be out here. So this actually should be very, very easy, despite 6 gateways being a very dangerous thing here. With medivacs and Stim, this is almost easy peasy, where, you know, force fields won't be able to wrap down. And actually on the right-hand side here, a single Marine sees everything.
Alive is playing this so very well, and MC is losing opportunities everywhere, and Alive is totally prepared for what's coming at him right now. Medevacs are about to come in. SCV's being pulled off the line to ensure this one bunker stays alive, as 2 more are constructed in the background, and I don't know about this. I don't see this breaking it. There are a lot of force fields there, so he can deny repairs and split the army up, but this is still a difficult prospect.
Yeah, it's still pretty dangerous though by MC. Has a lot of units here. The first bunker is going to go down really, really fast. Like, great evacuation, but look at the Marine count.
The Marine count is pretty damn high, isn't it? The force fields are absolutely fantastic, but they do deny the Zealots from actually making any contact with his opponent's Marines there. More reinforcements coming in here, and Alive's just holding on to it, but MC, if he actually gets another round of units out here, he could crush through this.
Yeah, he's actually Alive. He's pulling down a lot of SCVs here, and actually, that's really weird. Pulls all SCVs and then adds on tech labs onto his barracks, so kind of
risky,
comfortable but not comfortable.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, there's so many SCVs here that can buffer so much damage here. But +1 is done in 40 seconds time. That's the no-go area for MC, but still, the unit count with double medivacs is still pretty good.
Yeah, 18 Marines, 2 medevacs right here. Alive actually getting aggressive, which is in itself very risky considering the possibility of force fields going up, but they didn't. Not a huge amount of energy remaining on the sentries to actually do that. And now MC's going to try and work his way through the destructible debris to give himself more angles to get out with his Zealots. But as you said, as you pointed out, that infantry upgrade is about to complete. And if MC doesn't figure that one, then a vicious counter push with Marauders and Concussive Shell could crush this.
Yeah, +1's going to make a big, big difference here, and Alive does not want to load into that medevac. Big mistake there, but does immediately evacuate here. But MC knows this isn't going to really work now, and has actually already brought the Twilight Council down, has already, you know, started to add on the double gas on the natural. Looks like he's immediately just going to go for Blink here and retreat, and with the Blink addition, he knows that medevacs are out. He knows that that aggression could easily follow up by medevac, so he could also... The 2 things with Blink is that you can, of course, defend better because you have better mobility, but more importantly, which MC's playing to, is that he has 6 gateways. If Alive makes a single mistake with a push out, Blink is the biggest punisher that Protoss have, because every single medevac, every single retreating unit will die.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, MC, I believe, did see this coming across. I'm pretty sure this passed the viewpoint of that pylon there, so that's why these Stalkers are heading towards the back. He does have this kind of knowledge. He's got Zealots prepared here. Needs, of course, to guard the Twilight Council. The risk is that the Twilight Council dies before Blink actually completes, and then that punishing maneuver is not available. Alive going once again for this trademark of his, which is this 2-pronged aggression. MC does have 6 Zealots waiting for him, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to work out, though. Especially because he can warp in units right now. Let's have a look. Yeah, he definitely can warp in 6 more units. He's waiting, knowing that this drop could come in. He now spots it and can also warp in along with these Zealots.
Yeah, the Zealots managed to get Alive back in the corners. Not enough Zealots to stop what's coming, though. And now he's just bringing Stalkers in just leisurely right now. The Twilight Council is finished, and there's the big engagement, and a big Blink coming in right there as well. As the force fields cut the army in half, the Zealots slice their way through here as well. Alive still continuing to do some damage right here. The Marauders cutting their way through the Stalkers. That +1 really helping out, but here's the cleanup coming in right here from MC. And the Twilight Council did die, but not before the research completed.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, the Twilight counts are going down, and Alive killed it because he's like, alright, well, I guess I should kill something, especially if
exactly.
he's going to upgrade. But look how much damage Blink is doing here. It's just picked off every single unit, and, you know, he can actually retreat after that last Marine.
Oh, man.
Actually does not want to overstay here.
It's okay, he's got Blink Stalker micro.
Okay.
He's got micro, but he doesn't actually have any zealots, so that's a bit risky in and of itself. A lot of SCVs pulled off the line here and taking a punishment as MC continues to get aggressive, and Alive is actually pretty much out of units right now. He doesn't have what he needs to actually crush this, so while that was incredibly risky there by MC, he comes off even better for it, having now killed 32 SCVs, leaving his opponent on only 32.
And now he's going to expand. That's one of the key things for any Protoss players looking at how MC is playing against Terran players. He delays his third base by quite a bit sometimes compared to the greedy play. So when you see him take a third base, that's something completely different. But his regular style, look, it's now just the second going down because he knows how difficult it is when a Terran player splits you across 3 bases.
Yep.
There's hardly no way you can defend that third base. There's absolutely no way. And also at the same time defend your main. So MC is kind of tucking himself a lot tighter in these 2 bases and then expanding after he exploits a Terran player that tries to play aggressive against you. And now he's got the High Templars coming out. He's got, of course, Zealot Charge on the way as well. And adding on more gateways, MC is looking like he can take this map away from Alive, who did pick it.
Indeed, and a single Marauder going down there doesn't see what he needs, unfortunately. The entire Stalker force is able to avoid that, but now spotted by the Marauder on that Xel'Naga. And there is the Blink going down. Doesn't want to get involved in that. Absolutely not. Needs that Blink back up. It's going to be up in a couple of seconds, so he should be able to get away. Wow, one Stalker got caught in the heating.
And oh dear.
That's awkward. That is awkward. This is even more awkward because he's got backed off into a corner here. Blink Stalker micro or no Blink Stalker micro. He's still going to take a lot of damage from those Marauders. Zealots come around the side to deal with that. Finally, the trapped Stalker is able to get out of the heating pipes. And MC once again with a massive army and denying the possibility of a big push out from Alive with what he had there. Army supply heavily in favor of MC. Third base is down. A factory put in there, and rather annoyingly, just to block a little bit of mining and, of course, gain scouting information. But MC still with the upper hand in this fight.
Oh man, MC has to start upgrading and chrono boosting properly into these forges. You know, +2 attacks about to finish, and Alive, if he just put everything on the ground, stopped trying to drop, and just went for a straight-out attack, this could be very dangerous, though. Storm will be the saving grace here, because there's no Ghost Academy down, there's no intention to build it yet either, as he is only limited to 2 kind of bases mining, as his main is almost mined out now, and the Ghost Academy will only start in the next 30 seconds, 60 seconds or so. But MC, playing with fire, he chooses to have more units of upgrading early on, and as good as that is to hold aggression, if you don't start those upgrades fast enough, you will fall down. And we do see a drop coming towards his third base. 3 pylons are there, has lots of supply and money. Unless he warps in the next couple of seconds, he will be able to defend against this. And he does warp in right now, and that is not the location where he wants to be warping in. No,
absolutely not. The drop, however, didn't go straight into the mineral line, and MC looking to actually move back and intercept this. He does have Zealot Charge here, but he's going to take just a little bit of damage, and a nice pick up and go there by Alive. Stalker's now moving in to try and intercept this, so this drop may not get out by the looks of it. Moves in once again. It is only Marines, so they aren't getting out of there in a hurry, but even with those upgrades, he's able to inflict some damage.
And well, he's still, I'm looking at Alive's vision, he still doesn't know about High Templar. And that's very dangerous for him, considering he still doesn't have a Ghost coming. He's going to have to split so incredibly well here, but he does have an upgrade advantage. +1 on either side, armor and attack output here. So MC, though, even though he has a lot of units on Storm, still playing a little bit with fire. As long as the micro is efficient from Alive and doesn't eat big storms, he could still knock this down quite well, but it is getting a little bit out of control, considering he's just now throwing down that Ghost Academy. Yeah, that's very true. There's a great opportunity for MC to actually do severe damage here, and that's exactly what he's going for. Here comes the charge right now, coming around the flank of that large count of Marauders, and the Storm is still a little bit behind here. Some damage done to the Zealot count, not exactly severe. Missed Storm there, now of course revealing it to his opponent. Looking to just take the third base out here completely. And a little bit of a risk from MC, certainly. Could get caught out of position, but would also love to lure this army into a baller hurt known as Psy Storm, which is coming in his direction right now. Oh, nice little step forward to grab a couple of high Templars.
Very
Two
good.
go down, but two still remain with 2 storms each. 4 in total remaining. With force fields as well, he could do so much damage. There is a drop towards the third base of MC as well, but immediately picked up and swept away. But this is very dangerous for Alive, and without Ghost, man, you really can't combat this efficiently.
Yeah, it's difficult. Admittedly, the storm count is not as high as it could be, but still more than enough to place that right down in the middle. And Alive did not split well against that at all. A lot of damage being done. Here comes another wave of chargelets smashing into the army of Alive. The upgrades, though, that's what really matters right now. Alive has got the upgrades and is able to completely smash the army of MC. Oh, man, there were not enough storms there.
Oh, man, and as MC's army depletes, so does his upgrades finish. And that's, you know, a big waste, to be honest. It's a big army he did just now waste. And he does still have the economic advantage. He's got double, triple the income of Alive, and he's trying to establish that third base. But the scary thing is, this army from Alive could actually beat MC here. They're equally upgraded, but now we have the addition of Ghosts.
Oh man, and there's cancelled warp in there as well, and MC really needs to be careful here. I don't know why he's going for this. Absolutely suicidal, there's no way. And eats a bunch of EMPs as well, trying to perhaps lure them into some storms, but a quick split there by Alive this time around. Gotta be careful, losing these High Templar would be absolutely disastrous. There's a snipe coming in, and at least one taken out. Thankfully, no more energy by the looks of it left on those Ghosts, as MC is able to bring an Immortal into the fray and an Archon to try and delay this push coming in right here from Alive, who is shoving his way all the way back over to the other side of the map. Storm goes down, picks off a couple of Ghosts as well. Storm count is still very high here. He could absolutely rip Alive apart.
And a counter drop into the main here, just catching MC out of position, and that's one thing he's definitely doing here. There are some units at the back of MC's base, but he is more interested in just defending this push. And he's, going to lose a couple of pylons here, going to depower some gateways, but there's the big warping. Yeah,
warping coming in right there as the push tries to shove in there. It doesn't really gain anything, unfortunately. Can't get the position on this at all. Archon at the front buffering a metric ton of damage, and so many chargelets going in at Alive right now, shoving him across the map once again. Oh, back and forth game between these two. Alive's now established his third base, completely oversaturated, of course, because his natural is mined out, his main is mined out, a fourth's now being taken by MC. Economic advantage still in the Protoss player's favor.
Yeah, and with 3-3 upgrades, we'll once again equalize the upgrades here. There's nothing to deal with Storm. There's still no Ghost being added on. He just doesn't have the resources. So he's just relying on kind of tearing MC apart by drops and splitting his units. But the key thing here is as his fourth base goes up, MC's going to have a complete new saturated base to work with. Therefore, he immediately throws down second robotics facility and a robotics bay. And that will be lights out. There's no way in God's earth, no matter how good his splitting of position is, he can fight against Colossus as shown in game number 1. And that's what MC is going to be aiming for here. There is a drop on the left-hand side, but even though Marines are good, they're not good enough to beat the Stalkers.
No, they're not that good, but he does take out a couple of Stalkers here and there, and Marines is not too concerned about losing at this stage. MC continuing to warp in, however, his income is skyrocketing and will be even better once his fourth base has kicked in. Alive just pushing across the map with very small numbers of units now, and trying to do what I can't imagine. Just try to take map control, I assume, but eventually MC is going to get this big ball of hurt going, and then I don't see what Alive's going to be able to do against it.
Yeah, and you see he takes the gases immediately here. That's the most important thing for MC, is just getting that gas count up so he can, you know, tech switch over, continue to reinforce from the same. Whatever he chooses, depending on what Alive has left over. And what with Alive has right now, of course, Colossus is the best decision in the world. But still, with 3-3 upgrades and the bank starting to climb up for MC, who actually decides to get a War Prism here, which is pretty smart, to be honest, considering the amount of ghosts. He's going to be able to just throw the High Templar in that War Prism. Does want to get speed, though, but that, of course, involves throwing the Robotics Bay, which is going to, of course, go to Colossus shortly anyway. But still, this is a pretty sick play here by MC, who is basically sitting, saying, hey, come kill yourself. And Alive may actually do that.
Yeah, a couple of zealots picked off here and there can be easily replaced there by MC. Army supply count firmly in favor of MC as well. His economy is fantastic at the moment. It could not be in a better position. And now going for it, doesn't really gain anything. It's still a bunch of Marines and Marauders at 3-3. It's still nasty one way or the other. Storms go down, not really